What's going on, guys? It's your boy Chavez here.
Are you done being mad at me?
I'm here to defend myself against Skitten's video suggestions. Get off me. We just finished watching the Yule Man. It was terrible. And I've never been so happy that my Nerf gun has not been made of baby parts.
Nothing that we have, incidentally, is made of baby parts.
Shit.
Hello?
I was playing with it. You remember? Here's who. This is a completely different kind of video, a kind of vibe that I really like. Informational, exciting,
Yes.
different, imaginative, and no babies were harmed in the making of it, which is the best part, by far. So grab your grandma and enjoy a good time.
No baby torture.
Exactly.
There was a lot of baby torture.
So visit Skitten's channel where she's done 2 of the baby torture videos if you are so inclined. But here we go, the lizard tier list. I think we have a different tier list video that we're going to do after this too.
Yes.
About fish.
Fishy.
So yeah, let's get into it.
Bird.
Smack!
He said, get the fuck out of my
This
swamp."
video was made in partnership with CuriosityStream. Reptiles are a diverse faction full of many strategies, and
I fucked that up. Let me try again.
What happened?
CuriosityStream. Reptiles are a
I'm fucking this up.
Okay.
Oh no.
This video was made in partnership with CuriosityStream.
Your mom was made in partnership with CuriosityStream. I fucked it all up.
Yeah,
when said it the
I
first
see that
time.
you came back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it had to be done now.
Reptiles are a diverse faction full of many strategies, and generally speaking, they tend to be fairly straightforward. Turtles are tank builds that spec into high defensive stats at the cost of mobility. Crocodiles are damage dealers that focus on grappling to secure
Great
kills.
videos, by the way.
Snakes optimize for stealth and rely on status effects to bring down their targets. But where do lizards fit into the meta? They aren't really known for extreme speed, but as far as cold-blooded builds go, they're quicker than most. And while not as tanky as turtles, and not as stealthy as snakes, they can hold their own in each of these departments as well.
Versatility. If you ever seen those documentaries on Netflix,
Yeah.
they have tons of them now.
So many.
You will always notice there are lizards somewhere around.
Everywhere.
In every ecosystem. They just do all of it, man.
They do lizard things.
Yeah. They're great. I like lizards a lot. What I like more than lizards is turtles. What I like more than turtles is frogs.
Frogs, turtles, lizards.
Right.
You made your own tier list.
Look at
Cute.
me. Look at
That's cute.
Yeah.
But also, lizards are the definition of wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
Wherever lizards are, they're just there doing their own little lizardy thing.
They have to swim and hold their breath for an hour. I got it, bro. They have to be in a cold environment. I got it, bro. They have to be in a desert, bro.
Some of the larger lizards can even give crocodilians a run for their money in the power category
Okay.
too. While many of them could best be described as jack-of-all-trades generalists, there are also plenty of lizards with extremely unique abilities. So to better understand the many
he's
different
looking at
game
me.
plans employed by the lizard player base, today we're going through the lizard tier list. Before we get into the tier list though, first I'd like to start with some background on the history of the lizard faction.
Sure.
Ooh, okay.
So back during the Carboniferous expansion,
God.
the meta revolved around the conflict between the 2 most powerful factions, the amphibians and the arthropods. However, during this time, a small subsection of the amphibian player base unlocked 2 new special abilities, the eggshell, which allowed them to respawn on dry land rather than in the water, and scales, which gave them massively increased dehydration resistance. This eliminated their reliance on water and allowed them to explore tons of new strategies, eventually diversifying into all of the reptile builds in today's meta, as well as a few that were so overpowered that they ended up getting nerfed. The most powerful lizard build of all time was the Mosasaurus, a build that arose from a player base of beach-dwelling monitor lizards that spec'd into aquatic mobility options in order to avoid being griefed by dinosaurs.
Fear me.
But what are the most powerful lizards of today's meta? We're actually going to begin in D tier, as I don't think there are any truly awful lizard builds.
Nice.
The adaptations they've made to eliminate the weaknesses of their amphibian ancestors is enough to escape bottom tier, in my opinion. So how do lizards stack up? Let's get into the tier list.
Skink!
In D tier, we have the Skink, a smaller lizard build with very little in the way of unique special abilities.
Yeah.
Their stats are also quite low, and their game plan generally just consists of chasing down players in the lower weight classes, and struggles pretty hard when forced to defend itself. In particular, this build has a lot of trouble dealing with birds.
Put him down!
Despite the fact that it often hunts in grassy fields, it lacks the stealth stats required to avoid detection from above. In fact, many skinks are known for being brightly colored or having one specifically brightly colored body part. Skinks try to avoid being griefed by digging burrows for themselves, and while burrows are a great hiding place, the burrowing playstyle tends to work best when you've got the ability to launch a powerful attack in a single direction, since the bottleneck of a burrow makes it near impossible for a predator to...
I don't even know what you're trying to communicate to me. I thought you were going to say something. What's up, my sweet?
That was so unexpectedly cute. We're watching this thing about lizards and the kitten is there.
I'm glad you like that. Look at you. Yeah, babe, cats exist.
It was so cute.
Do you know what kittens are? They're like cats, but smaller, with more fluff.
I'm just saying it's cute.
That's how I expect a baby to react with the first time they see a cat. Just no words, just vibes.
I also really... Shut up.
I'm going to play that forward and backwards for you guys.
I hate you.
Reverse.
Also, I just think it's so cute that, like, mom is, like, here, like, back up, and then it's like, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, what's up?
Or running for their life, but same thing.
Approach without getting hit. Skinks can't really mount any sort of attack, so if their burrow gets discovered, it's most likely game over. The one defensive ability they do have is one commonly found in the lizard player base: autotomy.
I'm out.
Autotomy allows the user to drop their tail in order to get one free escape from a combo or grab. Now, to be fair, being able to break out of your opponent's death combos is an extremely useful trait that can save you from certain defeat. But with that said, autotomy is extremely costly to use, isn't guaranteed to work, and leaves you with reduced max HP for the rest of the game, even if your character has regenerative abilities. For the larger lizard builds, losing your tail also...
Yeah, it takes a really long time to grow back. I remember one time we used to go catching lizards out in back of my house, and like we caught one, and like its tail popped off, and we thought we killed it. We felt so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think of every time. I'm like, don't play with... I just think to be like, don't play with them, because their tails will fall off.
Yeah.
And they basically have just died now. It's so sad.
removes one of your best offensive options. But for the skink, this isn't as big a problem. With all that being said, skinks are one of the more lackluster lizard builds, so let's keep going and get to the more interesting ones.
Okay. Basilisk.
Also in D tier, we have the
name.
Basilisk lizard,
Yeah.
which is most notable for its use of the sprint ability, not
that's
just to move
fucking
fast
dope.
on land, but
Look,
also to
on
cross
water.
bodies of water.
That's so
Cool, right?
At first,
cute.
this ability seems quite impressive, and it certainly is a flashy move, but upon further examination, I don't think it's really all that useful in the long run. Being on the surface of the water is quite possibly the most vulnerable position in the game,
Right.
leaving you open to attacks from above and below. But
Yeah, I'm
ultimately,
out,
I think
bro.
it's more important to just point out that the whole reason the reptile faction split off from the amphibian player base in the first place was to remove their reliance on water.
Right.
So choosing an ability with a pretty situational use that also requires that the user be on the water's edge to use it is kind of a
that's
step backwards in the grand scheme of things. The Basilisk doesn't even have bad
go, bro.
stats. It couldn't use the water dash move without above average mobility. But still, I think its choice of
he's eating
moveset is
another
pretty
lizard!
self-limiting, and the
Man, told you.
Yo, it's a dog-eat-dog world, I guess.
Versatility, bro.
But substitute lizards for dogs.
Basilisk versus Iguana, bro. Versatility, dog.
That's fucked up.
It's such a cool ability, though, because you could make a bunch of Jesus jokes. You know? It's just like...
Basilisks are Jesus.
Bro.
Also, every time I think of basilisk, I just think of the giant snake in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's all I think of.
they'd be better off speccing into other signature moves.
Gecko!
In C tier, we have two lizard builds who invested heavily into the climbing ability. The Gecko build operates in a similar manner to the tree frog, with cling pads enabling it to climb any surface with ease. As far as mobility perks though, this is probably one of the best in the game. It works
gotta
great
do
as an
some
escape
moseying.
option, but is also fantastic for utility and even for offense, allowing the user to approach targets that are normally harder to
Look
reach.
how cute.
Being able to hang on tight is also super important for arboreal combat, as fall damage is a major threat. With such a strong clinging ability, geckos can often be the ones tossing other players into the
Get outta
void
here.
below.
Get him out of here.
Geckos do have a fair number of weaknesses though. They opt to use their tails to store energy, which can be a useful ability, but unfortunately in doing so, they take away the option to use their tails to attack. Geckos also do not have scales, instead opting for skin that gives disease resistance bonuses, so their armor
Ooh,
class
that's
is
how
lower
I
than that
feel. I
of
didn't
most
know
lizards,
that.
and
That's
actually
awesome.
more akin to amphibians. Because of this, they're quite vulnerable to piercing damage, such as bird talons and snake fangs. And with relatively low damage output, their only real hope against such attacks is stealth, which some do definitely excel at.
Jesus.
All in all, solid mid-tier. The Anole is a small, agile lizard build with a surprising number of special abilities, most notable of which are their adhesive toe pads and their color-changing skin.
Ooh.
Most builds that run the cling pad ability tend to be more bulky and cumbersome. Anoles emphatically break this mold, being both excellent climbers and having a climbing speed that rivals that of the squirrel. Because of this, they're great at escaping attacks by jumping between trees and scrambling up branches. But where things really get interesting is with the color change perk. Now, the ability to change colors is one of the most downright broken stealth perks in the game, and one of the main reasons I consider cephalopods top tier. Anoles have probably the most basic version of the color change perk, allowing them to shift between green and brown at will. While nowhere near as versatile as some other color changing builds, green and brown are pretty much all you'd need the vast majority of the time. This change is very gradual though, so it's unlikely to allow you to escape mid-combat. Which is unfortunate because, similar to the Gecko, the Anole suffers from a lack of combat options when caught out in the open.
Aw, man. Gila monster!
Last in C tier we have the Gila monster. The Gila...
I'll get you a Gila monster if you get me a Gecko.
What if it eats the gecko? I'm pretty sure Gila monsters eat other lizards.
Oh, that's upsetting.
Like, I'm pretty
we'll have
sure.
to keep them separate.
Let's watch this. Maybe he'll tell us otherwise, and then we don't have to worry about it.
The monster is one of the tankier lizard builds, and possesses one of the highest damage outputs in the...
Why it looks like he's puking.
Should I do my chain joke again?
No more chain joke. Give me the chain. You're banished from the chain. Who do you think you are, the amazing Jonathan?
Zing.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Its venomous bite, a rare ability among
they're
lizards.
poisonous.
This makes them extremely dangerous in close combat, and combined with their excellent defensive stats and digging ability, this allows them to easily vanquish all of the players in any nest it discovers. The Gila monster is extremely slow moving though, which can cause issues if it's ever forced to flee, or if it needs to chase down a target. The lack of a long whip-like tail also means its defensive combat options aren't near as diverse as other larger lizards. Still, with one of the most devastating bites in the game, it's certainly no low tier.
Iguana!
In B tier, we've got the tried and true Iguana, arguably the best representative of the lizard build as a whole, as it has essentially all the main weaknesses and strengths of its class. I have an entire video on the Iguana, so go check that out if you want an in-depth review. But in short, the Iguana sports mid-range stats across the board, and is the first lizard on the tier list to make use of its tail for something other than a sacrificial scapegoat. The Iguana's tail whip attack allows it to control a solid defensive zone around itself in all directions, enabling it to defend itself from group attacks. Tail Whip's damage is on the low side though, so a persistent attacker could potentially just eat the damage in order to break through and land its own attacks. The Iguana also has access to the autonomy ability, but this is especially costly in the Iguana's case, as it'd also be giving up its best combat move in the process. Overall, a solid mid-tier with lots of potential, especially in the marine servers. The Chameleon build sports several of the most unique abilities in the game.
Creepy.
So most lizards, especially the insectivorous ones, have a pretty simple game plan for taking down enemies. Chase them down and grab them. This strategy has a lot of limitations though. First of all, it means you've got pretty much no options to attack a player who is too large to grab. It also forces you to optimize heavily towards mobility, forcing you to neglect other potential strategies in order to have a chance at catching up to your target.
Bro, they have high knees, man.
The Chameleon subverts this limitation by speccing into one of the strangest abilities in the game, a tether tongue attack. This essentially functions as a ranged grab, and is extremely effective at scoring the Chameleon kills.
Have you seen the hand
This also allows the Chameleon the freedom to prioritize other stats over mobility, and in the Chameleon's case, they're clearly optimized for stealth, as evidenced by their other special ability.
Yeah. I've seen them crawl on people before, and I'm like, that must be so uncomfortable. Yeah. It's just, they're like, thumbs are useful. Let's have just a thumb and just a pad of fingers. That's all I need. The little mini phalange like this. It's not that part that creeps me out. It's the part that goes like this, and then it could like flex its little fingers. So weird.
color change. Now, while chameleons can change color in order to buff their camouflage, most
little
use it for
paws.
communication and intimidation, shifting to brighter colors to display
That's
dominance.
actually really cool.
While they don't have the same cling pads that geckos and anoles do, their prehensile tail gives them extra security to ensure that they
not
don't get
leaving.
easily ripped out of trees, and allows them to attack from riskier positions. With all this said though, they still struggle when caught out in the open because of their low mobility.
He's like,
And they
"I'm
also
so
share the
fucked."
same offensive weakness of not being able to take down players that they can't gulp down in a single bite.
He tried his ass though.
He was like,
The
"I'm
Tegu
hungry."
is a lizard build that has long been
My boy.
overlooked, but has recently become a serious contender on the tier list.
he's cool.
Its recent invasion into the North American server has destabilized the local meta, and when you look at their stats, it's
Yes.
easy to see why.
Now, they fucking
Tegus are
shit up.
similar in both strategy and stats to the
Smurfing,
Iguana,
bro.
but slightly slower and more defense-oriented. Their thicker hide and stockier build allows them to shake
trying
off
to eat
attacks that
those
would send
eggs.
other characters reeling.
Will eat those eggs.
They've also got a higher intelligence stat than most lizards, which, in addition to making them surprisingly decent support builds, also makes them great at outsmarting builds like alligators in order to attack their nests. Tegus are also omnivores, meaning they aren't forced to participate in PvP in order to level up.
That's
They
nice.
did spec into the autonomy ability though, which I unfortunately think keeps them out of top tier. Before I reveal the top tier lizards, I just
Okay,
want to
so he
say
doesn't
real
like
quick
the
if you
autonomy thing.
Oh,
He feels like autonomy makes you like lower tier, low class,
got you. I am upset.
proletariat.
I'm upset that he gets demonetized for some of the stuff he shows in these videos because it's mad educational.
Right.
And it's supposed to be like immune to that when it's like this kind of content.
Right.
So do better.
made it this far and are enjoying the video, it would sure make my day if you subscribed. Thanks. So, without a shadow of a doubt, the best lizard build is the Monitor Lizard. They have everything. They've got the best stats, a combination of great mobility, power, size, and intelligence.
Yep.
Similar to the Iguana, Monitor Lizards have an extremely powerful tail whip, capable of deterring even top-tier predators.
I'm going home.
Monitor Lizards also have a venomous
Mama Lion's like, I told you not to mess with that.
Yeah.
Thing. I told you. Go over there then. Go do it then.
Bro, they will sit around and watch you make a mistake.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you should not be messing with that. Is not good. He's moving slow, but it ain't cuz he's easy.
bite, which again is a rarity in the lizard faction. While not the speediest lizards outright, they do have great versatility in their movement, being able to swim efficiently as well as
He's
climb
like, I'm
most
about to eat the fuck
surfaces,
out this bird.
though not to the same degree as the marine iguana or the gecko respectively. Their high intelligence enables them to consistently figure out ways to successfully raid the spawn points of other players.
Oh my
and their
God.
high defense makes it so they can be rather difficult to stop once they've committed to an attack.
Yep.
This faction also contains the most powerful lizard in the game.
Komodo!
A lizard that reaches near dinosaur power levels.
Komodo! Yeah!
Komodo dragons are extremely powerful. They have a venomous...
Not excited enough?
Yeah.
Yeah!
They're awesome.
I'm very
I
excited.
know. They're fucking great. I'm just as excited. Yeah, they're
Why
dope.
don't you wiggle like me then? Yeah!
I'll join in your wiggling.
bite that, while
Excited
not as
wiggling.
powerful as cobra venom, is still powerful enough to seriously weaken even the tankiest builds. But even without that, they'd be an absolute powerhouse. Their tail swipes, claw slashes, and thrashing bites can easily shred through the HP of their targets.
Remember that teacher I used to tell you about that always tried to ruin my day in history class in
Yes.
middle school,
Yes.
which like stunted my history growth forever?
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about how I wanted a pet Komodo dragon, and he let me talk about it for like a majority of the class. And at the end, he was like, "Well, you can't have one because they're poisonous, so you're not allowed to get one."
Thanks.
It like almost ruined my day until the next day when I went to his class and I started talking about it again. And he was like, "Did you forget that they were poisonous?" I was like, "Yeah, I could use it and bring them to class."
You were a demon
I
child.
felt like I really got him back
How
for
did that go?
He didn't like it, but he didn't say anything about it. Like I got his ass. I was like, "Yeah, I could bring him to class." You know?
Have him bite you.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up. That shit would be dope. I just realized. Defensive.
Their only
Assassin
real weakness
Komodo
is their
dragon.
speed, which, while solid, isn't
Moving.
broken by any means. Still, with their incredible sense of smell, a player can never really
Ew,
truly
how
escape
you
a
gross.
Komodo that's hunting
So
them.
gross.
The distance that you need to flee in order to make the Komodo unable to track you down would require you to leave the island server entirely. Last but certainly
You
not
have to
least,
go
Komodos,
somewhere
as
else.
well as the entire Monitor Lizard player base, understand that their tails are an invaluable weapon that shouldn't be sacrificed in order to escape a battle.
Right.
So there you have it, the
Dope.
Lizard tier list. Hopefully now you've got a good understanding.
Yes. I do.
That was great.
And I am excited. We really want like a pet.
Yeah.
And we really want to get a frog. We really want a hedgehog. We really want a lizard. We really want a snake of some sort. And so now you see the problem. There's just too many choices. And I always think when I start the video, maybe there's a D tier that we could take care of on this list that would help us.
That we could not handle any of these.
And well, I just think that it doesn't help because they're all cool.
Yeah.
We started at D tier celebrating, and I just recently realized some of my viewers like shit on the D tier because they're D tier.
Oh.
And then like up the B tier and up, you know, because like that's how tier lists work.
Let's just be clear.
Yeah.
All of these D tier lizards are way cooler than all of your stupid schnauzers.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Whoa. God, put the gun down. Tier.
The Anole is way better than your golden retriever, labradoodle,
Okay.
bulldog terrier.
Okay. The point is, just because it's a tier list doesn't mean you shit on bottom tier. It's a tier list of survivability, not cuteness. That's probably going too far. Okay?
They're not. I don't think dogs are bottom tier pets. Please don't.
But you get the point that we're making. She's
Yeah.
joking about it, but you guys understand what we're saying. You don't have to judge them just because they're. That's why we celebrate all of them because they're all great, and the video's done so well. So make sure you still celebrate the tier zoo and you know, celebrate good content.
Celebrate animals of all races here.
Also, that no animal hate will be appreciated
I
on this
had a
channel.
dream one day.
All of my dogs and all of my lizards would share scales and paws in a community bowl of hope. We'll see you guys later.